Hong Kong, a city that doesn't sleep. In 2006, the economy grew by 6.9% in real GDP. But at the same time, the government had spent over 3.2 billion Hong Kong dollars in total on mental health-related services. In a regional survey of professionals conducted by Community Business and Hong Kong University, 75% suffer from stress or lack of exercise, 45% report exhaustion, 33% depression, and 28% take sick leave simply to recover from working long hours.
That has this massive implication back onto the business, and it's opportunity loss. Is their productivity high? What is the output at the end of the week?
The World Health Organization estimates more than 91 million working days are lost to mental illness every year, half of which are due to anxiety and stress. Francisco Asensi works for a local trading company where he spends an average of 10 hours at the office on Mondays to Fridays and is required to work on Saturday mornings. It's his last week in this company, having resigned 3 weeks ago to take a job offer from a Spanish company. He knew that he wasn't cut out for his current workplace environment.
The working culture is very different. In Spain, we normally take things easier and we take our time for doing things. Here, everything is fast, everything should be done right now. On one hand, everything gets done very easily. On the other hand, it's really stressful sometimes.
He sympathizes with the soon-to-be ex-colleagues.
Sometimes I'm leaving a bit late, maybe later than usual, and they are still there. And then the following day, I know that they've been even working longer, so staying until late at night. For the money they are making, I don't think it's worth it.
The working environment in Hong Kong consists of long hours and quite high stress. And this is something that the city is reasonably well known for. We did a survey several years ago that showed very clearly that very high percentages of employees in some sectors, such as the financial sector, are working long hours of overtime, doing unpaid overtime.
The survey shows that Hong Kong people work an average of 55 hours per week. In the financial sector, it's up to 60 hours a week. But it's not always a matter of productivity or having too much work to do.
They're working longer hours because their boss sits in the office until 10 o'clock at night, so they do too. They're on MSN or Skype or playing Tetris or whatever. There's a working culture in Hong Kong of a belief that if a person is at their desk, then they are working, and if they are not at their desk, they are not working, and that doesn't necessarily hold true.
Here, there's a very, they think that longer hours are related to efficiency, but in Spain, for example, we think totally opposite. We believe that if you work longer, it's because you're not efficient enough. It means that you need more time to do your job.
Andrew Phillips says the added stress from working long hours actually leads to lower productivity.
When the brain is stressed, or when the body is stressed, the brain releases these chemicals, and then that brings things down like your mood down, and depression rises, productivity decreases because you're not as happy and as excited about work.
This psychiatrist adds that it can lead to much more than just lower productivity.
Since most people spend most of the time at work and they have less time for their family members, which might create some family problems, depression, and schizophrenia, those are the biggest risk factor for suicide in Hong Kong. There are lots of depression that were being undetected, and because of that, people did not receive the appropriate treatment for depression, and then they kill themselves afterwards.
There have been over 19,000 suicides in Hong Kong since 1997. Figures from the HKJC Center for Suicide Research and Prevention show in recent years about 4,000 people a year attempt suicide, costing 40 million Hong Kong dollars in subsequent medical treatments. An average 1,200 succeed in killing themselves, with their families receiving $1.4 billion in support services. Various groups have urged the government to take the problem more seriously. The government did set an example by adopting a 5-day work week last year, but Frost says more should be done to promote better mental health, work-life balance, and family-friendly employment policies.
We need a workforce that's not burnt out, that's not committing suicide through depression, death by overwork.
The unusually fast pace in Hong Kong is reflective of the generally hectic lifestyle of the working population. Should it continue to be this way, or should people consciously stop to take a breather?
We talk a lot in business about opportunity gain, where we can improve our business, and this is exactly one area. Having people happier, healthier, more focused at work, the benefits to the businesses, that we're getting productivity out of people.
A survey conducted by the Labour Department last year revealed that 32% of companies stated that they would consider promoting work-life balance through family-friendly employment practices. But at the same time, 43% indicated that they've never even heard of the concept. Frost says it used to be much worse.
So, where do we get them from? I came to Hong Kong in early 2000, to work on labour rights issues, mainly in factories. And there wasn't any conversation in this region about work-life balance in any serious manner, and there wasn't really any conversation in this region about corporate social responsibility. And in the first year of CSR Asia, we still didn't see very many companies talking about CSR. But over the last 12 to 18 months, we've seen an enormous uptake of companies wanting to do better in workplace practices.
One of the companies promoting work-life balance is IBM. It's encouraged through different work arrangements. A flexible work option gives employees the choice of coming to work 45 minutes before 9 a.m. and leaving earlier as well. A leave of absence entitles staff to go on a sabbatical for 1 or 2 years if they feel they need it. And when possible, the company will allow an employee to work from home.
Having this work-life balance and flexible work option is a very key element for us to keep top talent. Keeping the top talent will save the company a lot of cost to retrain people, and also a lot of good contribution by this top talent, and all this will translate into business for the company.
Rosanna Wong is one such top talent. She joined IBM 12 years ago as an in-house legal counsel and worked her way up to a key managerial position.
I took a 2-year leave of absence in 2003 when my daughter was 3 years old. And then I came back because the company needed me in the first place. When my boss approached me again in 2005, I said, well, I should give it a try because I like the company.
Rosanna now works from home 3 days a week.
This work-life balance implies the respect of individual, implies that IBM care our employee, and in return, our employee will have a better loyalty and they will choose to stay with the company. So all these are benefits that end up at the end of the day will translate into financial value.
Frost says many multinational companies have made a clear link between productivity and sustainability.
They need to attract the very best people, and productivity is clearly linked to having a good workplace. The second thing that's really got companies talking about CSR, particularly in this region, we're seeing rapidly aging societies. There's a war for talent, and companies are now having to compete for good employees. And they can no longer take it for granted that they'll get the best college graduates just because they've got a big name.
Any comments, you can email us at moneymag.